it to live righteously.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. It is an Articles of News episode, and we are joined by Megan the Mitch, crack of the bet, Mitchell. Thank you for being here, Megan the Mitch. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am well as well. I wonder if, where we haven't included you for a bit in the Saints Who Sport, if maybe we need to find a new nickname. It's not always about the nicknames, everyone who listens to the Cultural Hall. I know we went a long time with old Taylor One Chain Westbrook, and we've also talked about it quite a bit with Chris West as to what their nicknames will be. But I feel like it's the way that I show love. It's my love language.
Well, if you're not going to include me in Saints Who Sport, then if that would derive your decision making, then go forth, however you see fit.
Well, I would like you to be a part of it sometimes, but if the nomer is sports related, I digress. How are you spending the 18 summers which you have with your kids, because you won't get them back?
I have a feeling here's the thing. I have so many kids. I'm stuck in summers with my children for a very long time. The last 2 weeks I've been really sick with COVID, so we haven't done a lot.
For a good time, get COVID.
Yeah, it's been rough. But no, we're all starting school next week. So I would say that we're trying to make the most of the last couple days, but we're not, because I'm still suffering the after effects of being so sick that I can't bring myself to plan anything fun, because then I might have to cancel. So the last time I got COVID back in 2022, I had a residual. The good old days, exactly. I had a residual headache for months afterwards. That was I could kind of go about my regular day, but I couldn't work out. I couldn't, there was a few things that I just had to eliminate off my plate. And that's been the same this time around, where even though I'm healed from the COVID, I still basically have a perpetual headache. And so I'm not really planning anything over the top with my kids for the next few days, for the last few days of summer. We're going to go and try to do some school shopping today, because I couldn't do it before, and I have a kid transitioning out of a uniform school to a non-uniform school. So I've got to update his wardrobe a little bit. And
keep him in the uniform. Keep him in the uniform, so he'll be that kid.
Keep him in the khakis and the polo.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Yes.
Yeah. That'll make a really great first impression as an 8th grader.
Oh, no, never mind. But to be fair to your 8th grader, he's doomed either way.
True story.
This is just a less expensive way, I suppose.
Right. Exactly. He had the nerve to tell me that the jeans that I bought him back before we went to Germany, he had the nerve to tell me that they're too small now. And I'm like, look, you're growing fast, but those are not too small. And he's like, well, I really want baggy jeans. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So you're just gaming the system, telling me that they're too small because you just want bigger and baggier, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I bet his mom would never have done anything like that ever, I bet, growing up, right?
Listen, I grew up in the era of gigantic Jinko jeans. Do you remember those?
Yep.
And yeah.
For people who don't know, they were as thick at the bottom. They were not bell bottoms because they didn't bell out, but they were as thick at the bottom as they were at the top, and in some cases even thicker, or more circumference, diameter around for
they'd cover up your whole shoe. And so I get it. I tried to get Jinko jeans out of my mom. That was never gonna happen. So that's kind of what we're doing for the next few days. We're school shopping. We're getting stuff ready to go to the DI, because I've got a kid who is starting school in a few weeks, starting college in a few weeks. So she's getting her bedroom, getting her stuff packed up and out. So super exciting. We did all of our fun at the beginning of the summer anyway. So
sure. Just so long as you do it at some point, because you only have 18 summers.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I know a lot of people who are like, the 18 summers is kind of bunk, because my kids are still living with me. Even after they've graduated college, they're still living with me, and if I have played my cards right and loved my children the way I hope that I do, they'll want to come back for further summers anyway.
So 35 summers is the new 18 summers. Got it. Okay.
something like that. But really, there's only 104 days of summer vacation, and school comes along just to end it. Phineas and Ferb.
Do you let me ask you this. The reference on me. Do you, when you are mom at the store, are you go try these on and then like you touch the pant line and put your toe up, make sure that everything fits? Are you that mom?
Sometimes
Mhm.
it depends. It
Okay.
depends. I also try to buy things a little bit on the bigger side so that they can grow into it, especially with uniforms, because they're just like having to replace them mid-year is kind of a bummer. And if shorts and dresses and skirts are on the shorter side, then we'll kind of do a sit down test, a squat down test, a bend and snap, all of those things.
Jeez,
But
okay, all right.
not a bend and snap. I'm joking, but
Line up,
just
everyone, even the boys. Bend and snap on 1, on 2. Here we bend and snap. Listen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But it's interesting when you go into these shopping trips with, like, all of my kids have been raised in the same household, but they all have such supremely different personalities and
Oh, yeah.
styles. And so I have one kid who's going into 10th grade, and then the one going into 8th, and they're both boys, and they could not be more different in personality, body type, height, weight, all of it. And so I can't like buy stuff for the 10th grader and
Nope.
say, hey, maybe you share with your brother, or
Nope.
maybe we'll hand down to your brother, because really it's the opposite direction. It's, okay, 13-year-old, that's too small. Give it to your 15-year-old brother, because he's much
Small.
shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's smaller. He's smaller. And so it's always an interesting endeavor. And then when you get into like the shoe territory,
Yeah.
it's, well, I want Vans that have flames on them. That's the 6-year-old.
Okay.
And I want lifestyle Nikes. So I want Air Jordans. And I'm like, what money tree are you harvesting from? Because lifestyle Air Jordans are pricey, and and then I'm like, can we get something that's maybe like multifunctional? And they don't like that. And it's interesting.
Fun.
So fun.
Six,
But I did tell them, I was
times
like,
over.
Yep, except for number one, now not only is it like school clothes, which she'll be buying herself anyway because she's an adult, but it's also stuff for her apartment.
Sure.
And things like that. And I told them today, I was like, we're going to Costco today. We're buying some school clothes at Costco. And the 13-year-old was like, no, it was from Costco. And I'm like, look, they've got name brands there. I mean, they've got Nautica and, Izod and things like that. And I'm like, I wouldn't dress you like a middle-aged man. I will make sure that you look handsome. He's still not on board.
No.
With the Costco plan.
I've heard, and I don't know how this goes necessarily, but I would be curious, because I never really had to do this with the kid. The ex-wife took care of the kid as far as the clothes shopping goes and all this stuff. But I would be curious, hey kid, you've got X amount of dollars. And I'm not doing anything more, and like really trying to keep your kid responsible as far as the budget goes. So yeah, you want lifestyle Air Jordans? Great.
That's all you get.
Yeah, but once the money's gone, it's gone, and I'm literally not going to take you to the store again because you don't have any money for it, or you'll have to earn that money to be able to get those things. And so pants don't fit. You don't have socks because you haven't bought socks, and or maybe you have like staple things that you do, right? But the rest you go, listen, consequences, this is how this goes. I would be curious to know, how people would
contact at the cultural hall.
Yeah.
But we seem to do it a little bit differently every single year. We can't seem to nail down like the right way to handle the school clothes budget, especially like I said, with kids in uniform, kids and not in uniform. We've done it in the past where, hey, whatever money you've made over the summer, however much you want to contribute to your school clothes, we will match it. So if you want to contribute $20, we'll contribute another 20. If you want to spend, $100 of your money, okay, we'll match you for 100 because you've worked for it, or sometimes we've done like a 70%, 30% split where we'll handle the majority of it and then they handle a portion. It kind of just depends on the year and where we're at financially and things like that. So
will you do that with me?
Nope. You have expensive taste.
60-40. 55-45. It's a thing I hate. I loathe clothes shopping.
Me too.
This year I've done sort of a different thing, and and we do one of those subscription boxes for me.
Oh yeah, I've heard you talk about this.
I
Yeah.
am a stately gentleman. That's the name
Nice.
of the company that I do. Maybe I'll put a link in the show notes if someone wants to be able to get my affiliate link. Try it out.
There it is.
It actually here's the thing that's cool about it. I don't have to do anything. It just shows up. That's also the bad part about it, because if you go, man, I was maybe going to cancel that, and then it's on your doorstep again, and you paid for it by the time it gets here. But what I have found curious about it is that it is clothes that I would probably not go out and buy. In some cases, like you sort of get a pick a style, right? And at first I was like, I want business casual, but then, I was part of it for a couple of months, and then I was like, maybe I want more professional. So now that's the cycle that I'm in, etc. Right? I don't think I'm going to do it beyond this year.
Sure.
But I have been able to add some items, and I hate this, but this is genuinely what's occurred. Several people have said, you're dressing better and you look better. And I think, thank you. And also, I hate that that's the case. No. I mean, listen, this shirt that I'm wearing right now, I have 3 of them. They're all the same, and I got them from a gig I did for Gatorade. They're long sleeve.
I love it.
They're starting to get the little like fabric balls on it because they're starting
pills,
to be so old. Oh yeah, but they're so great. But that's what I would normally wear. But when I go out, I'm wearing the stuff that I got from the subscription things, and people have noticeably seen that I'm doing something different. They go, hey, I don't know what is your wife helping you out? I don't know what you're doing, but it's different. And I think I hate that that's what it is.
So in your boxes,
I don't want it to matter. I don't want it to matter. And it matters, unfortunately.
It matters.
I don't want it to matter to people.
It does.
But it matters to people. I'm who I am. I'm a child of God. Recognize me for that, not for what I'm wearing.
So, in your subscription boxes, do you keep everything, or is it you try it all on, decide what you like, and then return things that you're like, that's not really my jam?
Yeah. So, what you get is the whole box, right? And then you can try it on. And if something doesn't fit, you can kind of send it back. Or if it's not your style or flavor, you can be like, not my style or flavor. And some of the things, if you try and send them back, they're like, just keep it.
Oh, nice.
Like I got a pair of shoes for free because I was like, listen, you guys already sent me a pair of shoes like this, not this exact same brand, but I don't need another pair of shoes like this. Send them. And they're like, donate them. Someone will love those shoes. Great. And we'll send you something else. So that sometimes occurs. And then sometimes you'll get like a shirt and it doesn't fit or something. And then you'll try and send it back, and you won't be able to get that same shirt in the other size, but you're able to get another shirt like it. So for the most part, I'd say about 80% of the time you're able to be pretty well satisfied. And then you have to, like, I got a suit from the last one. And the pants are a little too tight, but the jacket is great. So you send the pants back, and
mix it up, mix and match.
Yeah, then they're going to give me a probably that same pair of pants, just in a larger size because I'm fatter.
Sure. Okay, so maybe this is too personal, but how much do you pay a month, roundabout, approximate? How much do you pay for it?
It was a birthday and Christmas gift because I don't do it. But I think that it's like $179.
Oh, okay. That's
so in a scope of a year, it's probably like $2,300, which I know everyone is like, oh my gosh, because that is, oh my gosh. But here's the deal. After the year's over, I'm not doing it again, and I'll be good for, 3, 4, 5 years. Because I literally, except for like garments that are gray or socks that have holes in them, I don't buy anything else. I buy running shoes, and then had clothes that my ex-wife bought me 12, 13 years ago. And my wife was like, maybe we're done. Maybe we're done with these things. So
get rid of that baggage.
So
okay, so I have another question though for this.
Hit me.
What are the other style options? So you said there's like business casual and like professional, but is there like party boy in Ibiza? Or
there's like hanging out, there's like casual things, and then you go through and create a profile. Like, is this you? Or are you like sweatpants and a long shirt down to your knees? No. Okay. Are you are you what
down shirt and khaki
Are you
plaid slacks.
are you clam
pleated,
diggers and what are they called for dudes? Man pre?
man prees.
Are you a man prees? And yeah, so you can go through and you go, yes, no, absolutely not, 100% yes, and then you can style it. And then you can also, if you get something in there like miss the boat, send it back. They'll send you something else, and you can be like, not my style. This color looks terrible on me. Don't send me these things. So I get a lot of blues because blues look good for me.
Are they name brands that people would recognize? Like, are you getting Nike and Under Armour and Cole
Yeah,
Haan,
so
things like that? Or
it's like Stacy Adams, if you know what that brand is. Ben something that I can't remember right off the top of my head. Yes, so it is name brand sort of stuff.
got it.
And you always get a
Okay.
pair of socks. Always get a pair of dress socks. And you
Nice.
can't send the dress socks back ever.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you switch? Can you say, I don't want dress socks, I want athletic socks
Nope.
instead?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Socks are what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Okay. All right. My kids throw a fit whenever I tell them to throw their socks away because they're full of holes. They're,
Yeah,
they're
you know
so
what you do?
comfortable. I'm like,
You
your
know what?
toes sticking out.
Yeah, you just take them when you're doing the laundry, or when you happen upon that they haven't put it away, and you go yoink yoink yoink, and then
I
just
do.
throw them out. Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Whenever we have so many people in our household who wear socks, shockingly, all of them wear socks.
Interesting.
And so we've got like big baskets full of socks that need to be paired up. And so I always just have a garbage bag handy whenever I'm making sock pairs, having a sock pair party.
So last
lot.
thing, then I promise I
Yeah.
want to move on. And we'll
Okay.
get into actual articles of news, but have you ever done, and this is a game changer, and I recognize this is like middle upper class, so I just want to throw that out there. This is elitist. This is
Okay.
I can't believe it, all these things. Have you ever done a sock reset?
Oh, I have wanted to. That's where you just like throw out all the
You
socks
take
and buy all new, right?
Yep, you take all the socks because you're
Yeah.
holding on to the one. I know there's a pair, I know, and maybe not like if it's a pair of like wool camping socks, because you
Yeah.
have both of those, right? And it's not the very loud soccer socks that go up to your thigh. It's not that
Right.
stuff, but just like your everyday,
Every
you got a
day.
bunch of socks kind of thing. Everyone, you haven't seen its pair. It's got a big thing. You just take it all and actually give it to the Deseret Industries, because there are places that do like puppets and stuff like that in different countries and stuff like that. So if they're still good, take it, bag it, and then just reset brand new socks.
I have thought about doing that before. I really have, but I do. This is going to sound strange, but I actually like my kids have socks that are like really important to them. That sounds weird, but it's like a souvenir pair that they bought,
Nope.
and so it would take some convincing. The thing that I do want to do though, and now that my kids are getting older, it does become easier, is assign like a color. Ethan, you're in gray. William, you're in black. Penelope, you're in white. John, you're in white, but everybody knows your socks because you're 6, so they're tiny, and Audrey, you're almost an adult, so figure out your own sock situation. That's what I've wanted to do. So maybe that's a way we'll lean sometime. I wouldn't mind
the kids
it.
are getting for Christmas 2024.
Oh, my kids get socks. My kids get socks every year for Christmas. It doesn't matter.
No, but it's a sock reset. It's not just a pair of socks. We need to get to actual articles of news. We'll be right back. BestDJinUtah.com is the website. That is where you go if you would like me to come and DJ your event. Now, will I do a family reunion where you all wear the same t-shirts? You bet I will. Will I travel to wherever you're at? Am I reasonable as far as what I cost? Yes. Do I bring a good time? Yeah, all the things. Listen, Best DJ in Utah, it's my company. It's a thing I do that allows me to be able to have the time to do the cultural hall. So if someone's getting married, you think, man, they need a great DJ. You're throwing a party, whether it's a 50th or 60th or 40th or 20th or whatever the party is. I've done them all and would love to be able to do that. An anniversary party, certainly done those. I did a baptism in 2023. Yeah, we did a big dance party at a baptism. Spoiler, not a Mormon baptism, but it was fun nonetheless. BestDJInUtah.com is a website. I will get back to you within 24 hours with a quote. Come on now. BestDJInUtah.com.
Imagine running a small business today. It's challenging. Imaging and internet presence is an absolute must. Even with that, you're still a small star in a bright cyber universe. Now, imagine you have someone who understands how to get your site designed for your talents and then easily searched by potential clients. Imagine Lennon Design. Whether it's strictly a website or a whole package of logo creation, advertising media, and promotional materials, Lennon Design is your partner in business. They'll test the boundaries of their imagination to create something unique for you. When you need creative, affordable design, let it be Lennon Design. Call 801-699-3022 or visit LennonDesign.com.
Here in the second half of Articles of News, we do actual articles of news. Hit it, Peter.
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go. Taking a quick second to mention that you can become a Patreon saint of the Cultural Hall. Please do so. Patreon.com/The Cultural Hall. It is not that money is not being used to get Megan's microphone fixed or to buy her a new computer, but she tells me she's going to get it fixed, and I'm trying to minimize it. You guys, we're aware. Thank you for those emails. contact@theculturalhall.com. I want to start here. I thought this was a big deal, and I think it's awesome. So let's go. The first sister missionary to serve a mission from the West African nation of the Republic of the Gambia, that's this, entered the Ghana Missionary Training Center in Accra, Ghana on August 8th. Sister Sunkar Yufa is assigned to labor in the Nigeria Calabar mission. She's from Sokuta, Gambia, and her branch, the Banjul branch, is the first and only branch in the country. It's been around only for 2 years, June of 2022. Wow. She's the oldest of 9 children, was baptized into the church 2.5 years ago. So baptized, branch gets formed, decides to serve a mission. An amazing, incredible person. Her father serves as the branch elders quorum president, and her mother was baptized just 11 days before she went into the MTC. She served as a primary teacher in her branch on Sundays, attended meetings on Saturdays with young adults, had missionary preparation lessons with senior missionaries from the Côte d'Ivoire, Abidjan West Mission who serve in her branch. She's read the Book of Mormon, developed a strong testimony of its truth, along with a firm testimony of the prophets and of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And when asked why she wanted to serve a mission, she responded, because it's the right thing to do. So congratulations to Sister Sunkar Yufa. I hope that we follow some of that, some of her journey. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
That's really amazing. Is she the first missionary, like missionary, or the first sister missionary? Like there have been elders who have left from Gambia? Gambia?
Based on the fact that it says sister missionary, I would assume that yes, it doesn't say that she's just the first missionary, but she is in fact the first sister missionary. So significant.
And did it say so she joined the church 2.5 years ago? And then her branch was formed, and her dad is the elders quorum president. Did he join the church at the same time as her?
Sounds like it. So dad joined, and then mom just barely joined, because I can't imagine. Go ahead. I was gonna say I can't imagine that dad joined 11 days ago with mom, and now is the branch elders quorum president. So I would think that there's at least some longevity to her dad's membership in the church.
Right. Sometimes I mean, we live in Utah. We live in the Utah Valley, or Salt Lake Valley, and I think it has been my observation that people who live in a population like ours are hesitant to serve and hesitant to be fully engaged with things having to do with the church. They'll come on Sunday and then you don't hear from them or whatever. And this is just my observation. It's not this isn't an indictment on everybody. But then I look at it, I'm like, here in Gambia, the branch is formed, and hey brother, you're the elders quorum president. And you're like, wait, I wasn't baptized very long ago. How do I do this? But yes, I'm going to serve willingly, and I'm going to jump in with 2 feet. And wouldn't it be interesting if everybody kind of had that attitude of, yes, I'm just going to go and do, like, regardless of the circumstances. I think it's a good example for us to follow, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm in an interesting place. I recently got called to a calling that I'm finding that I'm not going to be able to do very well. And
Mhm.
it's hard because of the way that like my work schedule, etc. goes, that like it's not that I'm not willing to serve, but it
Right,
is that
right.
so many of the ways that I am able to serve are not like common, right? Like I
Yeah.
am the de facto when someone dies in our ward, which happens literally all the time. I am the de facto. I'll get the key. I'll set up the chairs and tables for the after.
The luncheon.
I
Yeah.
almost said the after party.
That's what I've told my family I want an after party when I
Sure.
die. So
Yeah. If
if
you
that
die
helps.
early, I'll DJ that after party for free.
Oh my gosh, will you
Yeah,
please?
of course.
Because
If
I
you have to
have
die
told my whole
before
family.
60, you have to die before
Done.
60 if you want me to do that.
Done. No, I
Um,
don't want to do that, but
no,
I do
no.
want to DJ.
No, but if you do, I just want you to know that's the
Thank you.
gift that we'll keep on giving. But like yeah, I mean it's hard. I think that it can be an indictment of people. I don't think that we used to maybe have that. And I think part of it is because we're like, oh, my kid's got to be in travel sports and I've got to dance 7 hours a day and all this stuff. And back in the day, people were also very talented and we just were like, yeah, we'll be there because we
Yeah.
haven't planned out every second of our life.
Right. Well, and I also think that it speaks to our willingness to be open and honest with our leaders
Mhm.
and say, I can accept this calling, but these are some things that might stand in the way of me doing the calling the way everybody expects it to be done.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does and then a bishop to say, you know what? We want you in this calling. We feel like it's inspired potentially.
Mm.
We want you to do it in the way that you can do it, right? I have a friend who's a Relief Society president, and she has some struggles in her family and with some children. And she's also like, I'm not the typical Relief Society president that
Mhm.
everybody expects to see. And she told this all to the bishop, and he was like, we want you.
Mhm.
We want you to do what you can do,
Mhm.
and so then she was more able to jump into it 2 feet, knowing that she had support from the bishop to do the calling the way she was able to do. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think it also gets into like a whole cultural discussion of what we expect from people versus what is actually necessary for said calling.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
like I'm the activities leader, coordinator in my ward for like the ward activities leader. And there's so many things where I'm like, I I cannot plan a Christmas party every year
Mhm.
because I have other commitments in December. I actually do an event for our stake. And so I'm like, I can't do both. I was upfront with my bishop about that. I said, I cannot plan a Christmas party because I am so like deep into this other event that I do for the stake. And so you can't count on me for that. And he
Mhm.
said, that's all right.
Mhm.
Either we won't have a Christmas party or we'll have somebody else do it.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so we have expectations, we have cultural expectations, but we can also get down to the nitty gritty of like what's actually necessary for this calling.
Yeah.
Can you do the things that are necessary? Great. We don't need a centerpiece on the table during
Sure.
the Sunday lesson. It's
Yeah.
okay. Does that
A
make
very
sense?
Yeah, of course. A very quick aside. Everyone in our ward got sort of they shook up all the ministering assignments,
Mhm.
and I'm assigned to a new couple. They've been very kind to me ever since I moved in. They're probably 80.
Sure.
And I said, "Hey, how would you like me to minister to you? Are you guys like come to your house and teach you a lesson or share a thought? Are you guys like, hey, we're good. We don't need you to come by. We just know that we can count on you if we count on you. Are you guys folks where you need me to come and do something every now and then, that kind of thing." And the woman stopped me, grabbed me by the arm and said, "You know what? I had never thought about asking that question of the people whom I minister to." And I said, "Okay." And then I said, "So what kind of people are you?" And I gave her a week. I said, "Think about it this week and let me know because I am not necessarily the come to my house, teach me a lesson kind of person. But you know what I have decided I start to like? Hey, I'm going to come and we're going to go walk around the neighborhood and I'll walk with you for a half an hour. I've started to
That's
be
awesome.
that
That's
with
awesome.
folks. So anyway, we
Yeah.
need to get to more news, Megan. We never get to
Let's do
news
it.
stories. Take one. Go. Take it.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump to the story that I told you I wanted to talk about,
Okay.
if you are okay with that.
Let's
So
do it.
bodies at bodies at church, LDS doctrine, teaching, and culture related to body image. So the big question is, body image is a multifaceted issue that requires ongoing research, both in Utah and beyond. Now, this can be anything from, how are people dieting, exercising, weight loss, injections, liposuction, and where we live in Utah, there is no shortage of plastic surgeons and people who are willing to fix your body, fix your face, fix your hair, fix your nails, fix everything.
You
right?
use the word fix, and I would take issue with that. I would say change.
I'm going to say fix in quotation marks.
Okay.
They will make you think, the billboards will make you think you need something fixed.
Right.
Does that help?
I just want to make sure that we're couching it right, because
yes, I don't believe that those things need to be fixed, but some people in culture at large, society at large, and it's very prevalent here in Utah, will have you believe that those things need to be fixed. So at BYU, professors at the School of Family Life researched whether religion affected body image and development. Sarah M. Coyne researched the effects of media on body image, particularly among women, and Lauren A. Barnes, a licensed therapist, works with many who are struggling with body image, eating disorders, and other mental health issues. Have you ever had Sarah Coyne on your podcast?
I have visited her with her in other capacities, but not here in the Cultural Hall. Reaching out to her to talk about this.
You should, because I think I've heard her on another podcast, but they did face-to-face interviews with 126 male and female members of the church, and then another 1,333 completed online surveys about their body image. So what they found is that participants felt better about their own bodies when they were taught modesty in a principle-based way as a form of respect, empowerment, and humility. However, these individuals did feel worse about their bodies when discussions about modesty focused on specific practices, such as covering their shoulders and knees, or focusing on how women's dress can prevent men's sexual thoughts. So the big crux of this is that there are ways that our doctrine can support a healthy body image. And so it talks about how, based on their research, they offer recommendations for individuals, parents, and friends, and local leaders that could help improve body image with Latter-day Saints, especially in Utah. So these recommendations are focus on doctrines of divine nature, the role of the body in the plan of salvation, the atonement of Jesus Christ, and heavenly parents. Have open conversations about how church practices relate to body image, such as modesty, garment wearing, and the word of wisdom. Focus on principles when teaching about modesty as opposed to practices. Create a church culture that emphasizes acceptance, love, and warmth. Celebrate and encourage diversity. Focus on attachment to God as a primary way to reduce body image concerns, and teach the real meaning of grace. I think these conversations are very, very important, especially in Utah. It's very easy to look at it's easy to look at women in Utah and say, oh, they all have the wavy hair, and they all have the this and the that and the tan and the da 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 da, when we're such a more diverse group of people. And focusing on the way the Lord feels about us, I think, is a perfect way to look at how we can treat body image and how we feel about ourselves. And as a mother of teenage girls who neither one of them actually fit the prescribed body type, that, I've got one that's really tall and she's lanky, and she looks much different than her peers purely based on her height. The other one has a completely different body type than myself, than her sister. It's really hard waters to navigate. But focusing in on the doctrines of the gospel can help the whole process just be a lot more gentle and a lot more meaningful, I think. So.
And for people who don't live in Utah, or certainly the Intermountain West, in and around Utah, Idaho, etc., it's very on the nose that they try and target members of the church, women specifically, but also men, I think, feel the effect of this, but women of the church, like a billboard that said, the temple is being restored, why not yours, or something like that. Was the verbiage around it. Or it's getting a facelift, and why not yours, or something like that, right? Essentially it's being like, hey, they're doing this here with the literal temple, and your body's a temple, and so they kind of, I don't know that prey upon it is exactly that, but they certainly try and manipulate it as far as that
Yeah.
goes. It's
Yeah.
been a thing that I have had a wide array of opinions on, and I guess ultimately where I have decided to start resting on it is that everybody gets to make their own choice. But
Yes.
but for me, I don't know that unless I'm like maimed or something like that, I don't know that I would ever do it for the very simple reason of you are fighting a battle
Mhm.
that you will lose.
Sure.
I don't want to
And,
look
and you're
old.
talking like plastic surgery or
Yeah,
something, or
yeah, yeah. Oh, I got a facelift. Guess what? It's still gonna,
Still gonna fall.
you're gonna get old. It's gonna fall, right? Oh, I need to get this
Yeah.
tucked or snipped and all those things. And so ultimately, everyone to each their own. But I
Yeah.
I don't got time to chase that down. I got enough problems.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And you and I talked, I think, on one of my first episodes that I did of Articles of News about plastic surgery and how I have had some plastic surgery done.
Mhm.
And like you said, it's very much each their own. You do what you feel is best for you. And I think people have a myriad of reasons that they choose to go that route. For
Mhm.
me, it was I have had a million children. I've had so many children, and I had most of them very, very close together. And my body got wrecked from it.
Mhm.
Wrecked. And it got to the point where my self-worth, or like my body image,
Mhm.
absolutely tanked. And it was literally the result of me doing the thing that I was supposed to do, which is bring children into the world. And I'm like, I shouldn't feel this way. I can look at my body and say it's amazing, it's powerful, it brought 6 children into the world. That's a huge feat. But when I look at the mirror, I still see someone that I don't recognize.
Mm.
And I don't like that, and I think that that's definitely an aspect of the conversation that's important. It does make me sad, though, like you said, to see that people our insecurities are preyed upon,
Mhm.
and whether that's to get plastic surgery or to get a personal trainer or go on a diet, like all of it, it's sad, but people should feel empowered to do what they feel is best for themselves.
Yeah, people get a pick, even if it's not best for themselves. They should be able to pick with
Yeah,
their body. They should be able to pick
right,
with
right.
choices that they have. They should be able to choose to
Mhm,
not allow people to have choice about anything.
right.
Sounds vaguely familiar, like a plan that we chose not to follow, but interesting how so often people want to restrict choices that people have.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I
I
I
think,
do think bringing in gospel principles is important to the
yeah,
discussion.
the temple ceremony changed again.
Oh, I heard about that. I
Yep,
haven't been yet.
the endowment
Do you have
ceremony.
inside information?
Well, let me tell you, has once
Okay.
again undergone revisions, this time removing repetition from the script. This is according to
Hmm.
the Salt Lake Tribune. The result is a shorter ritual, which depicts a reenactment of the creation, Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden, and humankind's earthly journey and heavenly return. All told, roughly 15 minutes have been cut
Wow.
from the temple endowment ceremony, bringing the experience now closer to about 1 hour flat.
Wow.
Diane Smith, a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and a frequent temple attendee living in Salt Lake City, said redundant phrases have been pulled from the newly streamlined vision. I'm always amazed at how each change brings an individual closer to the Lord, says Diane. When asked about her impressions of the most recent edition of the endowment, I am grateful for continual revelation. Let's see. When asked about the latest iteration, church spokesperson Irene Queso pointed to a 2020 of July statement by the faith's governing first presidency in response to changes that were authorized to the temple endowment ceremony at that time. In it, President Nelson and his two counselors noted that the sacredness of the temple ceremonies and asked that our members and friends not to engage in speculation or public discussions about these changes. Still, top Latter-day Saint leaders have issued previous statements publicly emphasizing the evolving nature of the faith's most sacred rituals. Temple ceremonies have undergone at least 4 sets of significant changes in the last 5.5 years. So I just want to point this out for people who didn't see what exactly this is. The work is literally hastening.
Yeah.
15 minutes or roughly 20%. We're hastening 20%, everyone. Are you walking 20% faster? Are you ready to run? Are you looking beyond the mark? All the things, 20% faster.
That 15 minutes is your wait time at the restaurant that you're going to after you go to the temple for your date night.
There you go.
You just took the 15 minutes off the temple ceremony so you can get to the restaurant sooner.
Okay.
I don't know.
I like every bit of that. I make my wife sit in the car for a temple night because she's not a member. Hey, babe, temple night. Sit in the car. I'll be back. She'll like it.
Are you serious?
15 minutes less. No, I'm not.
Okay, I was going to say, Richie, come on.
Read a book. I'll be back.
I'll crack a window.
Yeah. Are you warm enough? Are you warm enough? What other stories would you like to get into?
So here's one. This is actually pulled from Reddit. Am I the A-hole forum?
Oh yeah, this one is wild to me. This story
is crazy.
Just wild.
And I had come across this several weeks ago, so I had read it. It's about, so for people unfamiliar, the Am I the A-hole forums on Reddit, people will come up and say, hey, here's the situation. This is how I acted. Was I the jerk? Basically, or should I have handled this differently? And in general, I have found that more often than not, if you have to ask, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But
pause real quick. I would love to, if people want to do this kind of feature on the Cultural Hall, obviously we're not going to call it what Reddit calls it, but if there is an LDS affiliated, am I the Korihor? I don't know. Am I the something? I would love to create that and be able to have discussions and have people be able to weigh in the articles of news. Contact at theculturalhall.com. Go on.
All right. So this dad, the topic was, I let my 11-year-old son drink coffee. My wife's gone mad, but it's no big deal. So he talks about how he and his wife were both raised members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but he left the church a few months ago and started drinking coffee since he no longer thought that it was wrong. But they agreed that the kids would not have the option to drink it until they were at least 16 years old. So he talks about how he and his 11-year-old son were at like the town fair. I have a feeling this story takes place in like Europe because
we don't have town fairs.
Well, yeah, and he also said my wife's gone mad. You know, that's not typically a phrase that we use here in the States. But he said that in general, his son has stated that he does not like the smell of coffee or the taste of espresso jelly beans or anything else coffee flavored. They were at the town fair and there was like a coffee trials tasting situation going on. And so he let his 11-year-old son try some as he was asking constantly to try a taste, which is weird when he already said he doesn't like the smell. So that's where I'm like, the story is slightly confusing.
Yeah, that smells terrible. I'd really like to try it.
I really like it. So he said that he gave him a tiny bit, expecting that he would also find it gross. He enjoyed it and proceeded to tell my wife as soon as we got home before I could discuss it with her. She's very upset and she thinks that I ruined her trust. And one person wrote, there's a difference between allowing your child to drink coffee and allowing them to taste coffee, just as there is a difference between allowing your child to drink wine and allowing them to taste it. And other people are like, he's not going to develop a dependence on it.
Sure.
My thing about this is that putting the coffee aside, right? He and his wife had an agreement and he broke it. That's where I take issue with the story. It has nothing to do with the content of what he gave to his son. If it was, my child will not watch a rated R movie until they are 16 years old. We both agreed on that. And then you let them watch it when they were 12. That is actually a breach of trust. You know, that is actually a mistake that you did make, you know, or my child isn't going to have a phone until they're 15 years old and you bought them one at 10 without telling me.
Right.
That's a problem.
Right.
You know, but if you want to have further discussions about it, if you've come to the fact that you disagree with the 16-year-old marker, let's talk about it. But don't just unilaterally decide.
Sure.
You know.
So the answer
and that's what a lot of people
that dad is. And I really do. I like the idea of this. I like the idea of bringing this into the Cultural Hall. So contact at theculturalhall.com. Am I the whatever that might fit in within our cultural thing? And then we'll ask for people to send emails. And those will be anonymous, not like the other emails that we get. So
and I will pass a judgment.
Yes. I will heretofore decree. This story I thought was interesting. I didn't send it to you because I got it late, but there is in Colebrook, New Hampshire, along a quiet residential road leading into the center of Colebrook, a rural New Hampshire town of about 2,000 people, two signs that adorn a lawn in front of a spare white church with two dark green towers. I'm not going to read the whole narrative of this thing, although way to go, writer of this story. There's a Methodist church and an LDS church, and oh, by the way, it's the same church. So the Methodists meet in the morning, 10:30. They got the best time slot. And then the Mormons come in at 1, and they've been doing this in this building for 15 years.
Love it.
It's fascinating to me that we don't do more of it. Now, the Methodists own this particular building, and they were having some financial trouble. And the members of this particular branch, I think there's 60 of them, said, hey, we would really like a place that we didn't have to drive an hour plus to be able to worship. How do you feel about this? And they're like, yeah, pay us this much and allow us to come in. And they do it. Now think about it. If you think about how often, and I don't know what the answer for some of this is, because you have to consider use and cleaning and all that stuff. But if you think about how much our chapels go unused throughout the week, if we were able to sublet that somehow in a responsible way, for people to be able to use it, it'd have to be nonprofit or something like that, but just to be able to use that space would be huge. Interfaith movements. Maybe it's for, maybe there's some liability issues that I'm not understanding or missing, but they're certainly doing that here with these folks, with the Methodist folks in Colebrook. I think it's so great.
Well, and we've seen it happen in like emergency situations where, I think it was maybe a Muslim congregation, their place of worship, something happened. And so we opened up our building to them. I also, in Alaska, there's two little towns that I visited. One is Girdwood and one is Skagway. And they have buildings that I believe are actually owned by the church. In fact, one of them could not have even been completed if the church hadn't come in and finance the rest of the construction of it. But like in one building, I think in Skagway, like 3 different denominations meet in that building.
Jeez.
And then the one in Girdwood, it's the same. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and then I think like a Lutheran congregation or something like that. And it lists the same thing. This congregation is meeting at this time, the Mormons at this time, and this group at this time. And that makes more sense because they're both very like rural communities. And you drive 45 minutes away from Girdwood and you're in Anchorage and you've got a typical stake center,
sure.
temple. But there's definitely a little bit of precedent that could make it work, especially like I said, in rural places that are more far removed.
Yeah. In my neighborhood, the Islamic center that's in my neighborhood is an old tabernacle. It's the old Taylorsville Tabernacle.
That's right.
And so they moved in there and they had that. It's not a shared space, but it is. You can look at some of the old like brickwork and cornerstones, and it's like LDS, blah blah blah, and you're like, no, not right now.
Yeah, that's pioneer stuff right there. And,
In the article, they asked the first branch president that made sort of the synergistic choice with the other leader of the Methodist Church. They asked him, how do you feel about worshiping in a Methodist church? It's more ornate than a typical Latter-day Saint chapel, and you can find pictures of it in the link to the show notes here in this episode. He said, quote, "We're mostly listening. We're not looking around. As long as you've got a seat and as long as you're with other members there, it's like our church." And then a member from the Methodist Church said, "Our motto is open hearts, open minds, open doors. So if it's what you believe, what are you going to do in that case?" So pretty cool thing that's going on out there in New Hampshire with that.
Love it.
The sharing of a space. What other story have you that you would really like to get into?
Well, this is one that I actually want to ask you about because there's not a lot of detail in what you sent me, but the Church of Jesus Christ responds to New Zealand Abuse in Care Royal Commission inquiry.
Yeah, let's pause on it. We'll get to it another time. It's probably a little where we've got like 5 or 6 minutes left.
Got it.
I think that people will go, what? And then we'll be like, and we're done in the back row of the culture hall. And people are like, okay.
Okay, well, let's see. You might like this one. Cleveland Church, still recovering from 2023 tornado damage, hosts
Well,
outdoor community day on Saturday.
well, I don't like that there was damage to a Cleveland community church, yes, but the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Cleveland, along with the members of, sorry, I'm trying to find this particular story.
The New Life at Calvary Church and the Community of St. Peter churches.
Yeah, they did a big like rally to try and raise money because I remember this church, by the way, too. From that's where I served my mission. There's still so much damage now, you know, a year and some change afterwards, that the LDS church, another church, came on board and said, hey, we're going to help you raise some money to be able to do it. It's like, it's things like the roof, right? And it's these churches that are part of these communities. The tornado ripped the roof off of its sanctuary, caused other damage totaling millions of dollars. The worship services have been held in the church gym while extensive repairs continue. And so the LDS church came alongside and said, hey, yeah, you're going to do a community thing? We like community things. Let's do a community thing together. So
we're good at community things.
Yeah, getting better.
Like,
for a long time, we're not good at community things.
The event will feature free food, music, dancing, school supplies, and other giveaways. So that's pretty cool.
I thought this was interesting. We mentioned this story about the guy who tried to set fire to an LDS church in Mississippi. Last name, well, I don't remember. Oh, there it is. A federal grand jury has indicted Stefan Pete de Raould, and this is down in Wiggins. And that was the thing that I latched onto when we talk about it. Wiggins. Well, a convicted sex offender was motivated by his disdain for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints when he vandalized an attempt to burn down the LDS church in Wiggins. After his arrest, he said that he claimed he had been, quote, reborn to Christ and felt called to action because he believes the LDS church is responsible for trafficking and molesting children. According to Fortunato, Raould first broke into the church on the 4th of July by smashing a glass door with a cinder block, probably the one to keep the door open so people didn't have to hold the door open. Once inside, the walls were written with hateful messages like child molesters, cowards, and false prophets. Pretty aggressive. Then Raould gathered up hymnals and paintings, like a big pile. It's exactly how you would think, and tried to set them all on fire, but it did not end up burning. So there you go. That's Wiggins.
What, did he just like put them in the middle of the cultural hall, like all of the books and the paintings? And
I'm not sure if it was in one of the classrooms, but he was hoping to burn down the whole school, or the whole church, but he couldn't get it to take fire enough. Needed more oxygen, Raould. Next time, think about it. A little more oxygen.
Bring your hairdryer.
Hey, don't think about it, but you know, even arsonists, even their fires need more oxygen than you would probably think. There you go, arsonists in the future. A church belonging to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Magna, Utah, which is the west side of the Salt Lake Valley, was vandalized. This is now about a week ago or so. Photos released by the Unified Police Department show the ivory stripped off of a piano keyboard, aggressive, mirrors shattered, and a sink in pieces in several bathrooms, and a carpet ruined with footprints and large marks. And I think the reason why it's footprints is I think they cracked open the fire extinguisher. That's what one of the footprints looked like. And then there were footprints all over, and it's stuck in there from that. Overall, the Unified Police Department Kearns Precinct said well over $60,000 in damage has been done. Church spokesperson said, we're saddened by the vandalism which occurred in one of our meeting houses in Salt Lake County, resulting in thousands of dollars in damage. We are supporting local law enforcement in their investigation to find those whom are responsible. And then, let's see.
Okay, I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Do our buildings have security cameras, right?
No.
They don't?
I don't think so. If they do, I am unaware of it.
I mean, even like I would think like just an outdoor cameras at each like
maybe
door or something. If not, they should.
I mean, so let me say what I know about this. I know the one in Chicago, in Logan Square, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think like the one I worship in has cameras.
I feel like maybe that's
Yeah.
something could be invested in.
I mean,
I just feel like this is kind of ramping up,
Sure.
like there's been a lot of vandalism recently, so maybe
Yeah.
something to think about.
Let me give this quick one. If you like the teachings of the presidents of the church or teachings of the prophets, they used to be our guiding manual for Relief Society and priesthood back in the day. We'd get them, and sometimes they were super thick if it was Brigham Young, or it was super thin if it was someone else.
Yeah.
Well, the first 4 chapters of President Nelson's teachings of the prophets is available. Find it in your app. Why don't you?
Nice.
Several quotes about how they think it's a great idea, which it is, of course, but I love it. It's like, we talked to Elder Eyring to get his opinion on it. And it's like, first of all, what would he ever say, Elder Eyring?
Right.
Negative.
I'm so mad about this.
Yeah. And second of all, of course it's great. Of course it's
Right.
great. It's things that have been out, but now it's starting to be kind of put together and made available. You can find and download it in your app. And then the other.
Well, so sorry, one question
Yes.
about that. Is there any do you think we'll use it for anything? Like maybe that could become our lessons for priesthood and Relief Society rather than conference talks? Maybe?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
I mean, I think that it could be used for something like, hey, we're in a neighborhood that we want to do this now. And maybe like a group off the side, or like personal study, or,
Yeah.
You're preparing a lesson and you just use it as another resource.
Sure. That's true.
But no, I don't foresee, because we're doing, the different books for our Come Follow Me. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It wouldn't replace anything with Come Follow Me, but maybe like one week we do a conference talk in Priesthood and Relief Society,
Sure.
and the next week we do something out of President Nelson's book. I don't know.
Yeah. I
Thinking.
mean, the thing for me that I think about that in particular is, I think if we listen to the talk and try to study and observe them, there are sometimes that when we have the talks in church and we're talking about them, I'm like, we could be talking about something that is far more pertinent if everyone would just read these or listen in conference. I sometimes find myself getting a little sour like that.
Or it's like a book report of the talk. Yeah.
And who can tell me the story? We read it. Like, if we all would come to church prepared like we would for something else, it's like, what do we gain from this? Or there's a lot of people in this particular elders quorum that is not being paid as much as they should. Let's have a lesson about, upping your employment, right? Like things, I don't know. It could be a little bit more specific and or pertinent, but that's me just doing what I do, being a that guy, a negative Ned. I want to share this in our closing out. This is from Leonard Hansen in our articles of news just the other day. We talked about that it is no longer the symbol of the angel Moroni on Google Maps. It is now a cross for LDS churches on Google Maps. So you'll see your church and it will become a cross. We talked about that, said, how long has it been? And Leonard says, hey, Richie, on Articles of News episode 830, you got into why Google marked our churches with a cross symbol. He says, one of my callings is working with the, quote, This Is the Place website project. I've never heard about this. So, Leonard, if you can tell me who we could talk to about this, I'd love to know more.
Maybe it should be Leonard. Maybe you should talk to Leonard.
Oh, listen, I'll talk to Leonard if I can. I don't know how high up the chain Leonard Hansen is. He says, this is where the church placed web pages for every church building, giving church addresses and meeting times for Google Maps and Apple Maps. So everyday people would find our church when web searching church near me. And a part of this also included placing crosses for each location. This project started in test form about 3 or 4 years ago, so maybe it's still rolling out some places, but I would love to know more. Leonard, chase that down or up the tree, or however, chase that near adjacent a tree so that we can have more conversation about that. I didn't know about that project. I didn't know what that is. So
that's interesting. I wonder if it falls under, like, we have people, if I look in my directory, there's people who are like the stake map specialist or something. And so I wonder if I'm sure it has to do with boundaries, and making sure the boundaries are where they should be, but maybe it could fall under that in certain areas. I don't know.
Could be. I think I just thought the crosses on the maps are sort of interesting, especially given our sort of odd feelings about crosses within the church. And then lastly, I want to leave this. I know I said lastly with the last one. But I want to bring this up. I am 99% sure that David Noyce from the Salt Lake Tribune, one of the hosts of Mormon Land, listens to the Cultural Hall. And David, I just want to shout out when you do articles about things that we bring up. I read through it. I didn't see, oh, hey, I happened upon this when listening to the longest running church positive show available in podcast form, the Cultural Hall, and thought that I would bring this up and write an article. But he wrote an article about how not to greet missionaries at your door, referencing the Babylon Bee that we said, man, not that funny. And I just think he probably was listening and he said, oh, this is a great story. What a great resource. We are David Noyce. We are a great resource. Cite your sources, David Noyce. Cite those sources. That's it. I got nothing.
All right.
You good?
Cool. Yeah. I'm
Are your
good.
pants too tight? Stand real quick. Point your toe up. Point your toe up.
What?
Will you point your toe up? I want to make sure that your shoes fit. Point your toe.
Oh,
How does this feel? Does it
sorry.
feel loose?
Hang on.
Do you like the way this fits? I think you look handsome.
They are
I think you
they
look
are
handsome.
joggers that are a couple sizes too big for me, so they feel super comfortable.
Well, you're
So
growing.
I'm good.
You're growing still.
Nope. I haven't grown since I was 14.
Nope, you're growing. We got to buy these a little bit bigger. You're in a family of a lot of people. Don't be so selfish. I'm trying to prepare you for back to school shopping today.
Well, here's the thing. I'm starting school back up in September, on September 16th, and I have yet to get the go-ahead from my husband that I can buy new school clothes. It doesn't matter that all of my school is online. It doesn't matter. I want new school clothes. Maybe that's new sweatpants.
Here's the compromise. It's new tops.
That's fair. Business on top, party on the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Listen,
I can
honey,
do that.
you're right. I don't need new sweatpants. You have provided great sweatpants for me for so many years, but I would like some new tops. How do we feel about that? And
The conversation would go, right. I would say, hey, can I buy new sweatpants? And he would say, how many pairs of black sweatpants do you have? And then I would count them and I would say, I have about 6. And he'll be like, 6, really? And I'll be like, maybe there's 7 or 8. And he'll say, you don't need more black sweatpants. And I'll say, I don't know that that's true, but okay.
I mean, they go with everything.
They really do.
They
really do.
I said tops. I wanted to say blouses, but I know people don't wear blouses anymore. but women don't wear just shirts.
I'm wearing a shirt that says vote for Pedro.
Yeah, but well, okay. I did. That's who I'm voting for in November. We hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
That if you're not healthy enough to listen this week, you can listen next week.
And that when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Rick McGee, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
on the back row of the Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We really gotta go on the Cultural Hall show.